everybody. Welcome to the D-Pad. I'm Rick.
And I'm Ben.
This is, oh boy, here we go. My Nintendo Picross, The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess.
Okay.
Or as we all know it, Twilight Picross.
Yeah, it's Picross.
Yeah. I almost had the joke that I was going for, but I like what I wound up with better, so that's fine.
Great.
So yeah, today, as you might have heard when he said his name,
yes,
I'm being joined by Mr. Ben.
I am Ben. How are you?
I am Rick.
Good. But how are you?
I'm Rick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just ricking around.
Just ricking. Just doing a little ricking.
You
Just got a little.
ricker.
I'm performing recreational activities.
Okay.
So yeah. I should move the mouse. It's like right in the middle of the fucking screen on our side.
I didn't even notice.
I'm
just watching you generate beautiful art, watching it unfold before me.
It's honestly a really So it's difficult in the sense of doing this while trying to hold a conversation. Very difficult. Been learning that more and more over the course of this series.
Oh, okay.
I kind of expected that, but also it's even harder than I anticipated.
Speaking of the series, what is this series? Because you talked about this Picross thing, and I got a general idea of it just being a one-on-one with each individual person, but that's really all I know.
Yeah, so
I don't know what your goals are.
Part of the issue with a game like this, to kind of close out all of these, is that Picross is not a particularly high-intensity, investing kind of video content.
I don't know, it looks pretty...
I'm glad that you are into it. I'm into it also. I love this stuff.
I was joking.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good night, everyone.
All right.
But yeah, no, basically, so the idea was all right, if we're going to be doing these for videos and it may not be the most exciting content in the world.
Sure.
Why not do something we'll treat it like a podcast episode, but also if this is kind of the tail end of all this, why not take the opportunity to kind of go back and chat up everybody, really, and kind of retrospect a little bit. Is retrospect a verb? Can I use that as a verb?
Sure. Language is fluid.
I'm going to use it as a verb. I just did. I don't know if you missed it, but I did it right there.
Okay.
So what I've been kind of doing for this series is just kind of basically it's just an interview, right? It's a one-on-one podcasty interview kind of thing.
Do you have prepared questions for me?
I have, in my head, yes.
Okay, all right.
I have them. They exist. For example, let's
Let's
back,
jump right
I guess.
in. Yeah.
So,
Pick
you
my brain.
are out of the people that we've done this with so far. You reach back the furthest, actually, I believe.
Okay.
Actually, no. I think
Dustin. Right?
Yeah, Dustin was just a little bit further back, but you joined us for. I'm gonna get the number wrong. I think it was episode 6, maybe 8 of the Wind Waker HD.
I think it was 7.
Well, maybe.
I don't know.
It was.
It was early Wind Waker because you're on the
Yeah.
first dungeon or something.
I want to say we were in the Tower of the Gods. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was the Tower of the Gods.
I don't know.
3, 4. Damn it. But so that was your first series with us.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
Followed very quickly by the original Ouya unboxing, I guess. We didn't really the actual gameplay series itself was sort of a little more touch and go. There were a few of those that were just John and I, which I guess hasn't changed a lot. But I guess to start with, what was the pitch to you that got you interested in jumping in on one of those recording sessions? Because from my perspective, it was literally oh, hey, from John, it was oh, hey, so one of my friends, or I guess one of Meg's friends, Ben, is going to be coming and hanging out today. Is that okay? And I was like, yes, I think. I guess that's fine. Because I don't remember if I had met you at that point.
No, I think that was the first time we met.
Yeah.
So, we've told stories about how we all met basically through Megan / John, that combination of people. And there's really not too much of a story to it. I knew Megan and therefore had hung out with John maybe a couple times. I didn't know him well or anything, but like, very overlapping interests made it so that we became friends pretty quickly. And he just brought up that he was on a YouTube channel doing Let's Play videos, and this was
it's been 2013, I think, right?
Yeah, so 7 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Ish, around that.
Yep.
And I was watching like Game Grumps and like familiar with Let's Play stuff in concept and in general, and was something that I thought was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, that's I love Legend of Zelda. I'm vaguely familiar with Let's Plays. That'd be a really cool thing. Like, I'd like to check it out. And like in my head, I was thinking just kind of like hang out and.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
this is a one-day like cool activity to do on like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean like, and then I don't know. I was like, maybe I get involved or whatever. But he's fishing. I get
it's a fishing episode, guys.
I didn't really know what to expect. I was just interested in those things. And you know how John is. He's a pretty charismatic kind of guy, and he's just like, yeah, come on and do it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that's all it was. Yeah, not much of a story, really.
No, that works.
It was just like, hey, we're doing a Legend of Zelda, making videos about it. You want to do that? I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Uh-oh.
Oh, are you timed?
Sort of. The time counts up. If you get an individual puzzle done in an hour, then you get a color version of it. We've never even come remotely close to taking an hour on any of these, so...
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I miscounted my starting point. Okay, that's fine. So what were you... Had you ever played the Wind Waker at that point? Yeah.
I played most of the main series titles. Well, I guess I mean, what hadn't come out by 2013? Was Twilight Princess already a thing?
Twilight Princess. So at that point, the first Zelda game that came out after we started the Legendary Let's Play was A Link Between Worlds. On the
I remember
3DS?
that coming out. Yeah.
I think it was the 3DS.
So, I played most of the... I never had an NES, so I didn't play the original Legend of Zelda. I didn't play Legend of Zelda 2. But I started with the Game Boy one.
Link's Awakening.
And... the first system that I had at my house, at my parents' house, was an N64.
Nice.
Got Ocarina of Time, played the fucking shit out of that game. I definitely was familiar with Wind Waker and Legend of Zelda in general. Yeah.
There we go. Sorry, just doing a quick count in my head.
It looks
there.
like a weird smiley face right now.
Yeah.
Like
it does. A little derpy, like. Hey, hello. So you actually, this came up, weirdly enough, in Jeff's episode.
Oh.
And I know that we've talked about it before here and there, just kind of in passing, but Link's Awakening was a game that had like a really big impact on you, right?
Yes.
You want to talk about that at all?
Sure.
All right.
So it was the first Legend of Zelda game that I played, and one of the first video games I had ever played that wasn't like, Super Mario Brothers at my cousin's house or whatever.
Here is your goal. Go. Like one of those kinds of.
Yeah, it's like, go to the right.
Oh shit! I'm going to the right, you guys.
Cool, that was easy. And then it's like, go to the right. There are more things in your way.
Oh god.
Yeah, and like I played, like Tetris or whatever.
Totally.
But
whoops.
Yeah, it was the first. Because there's an actual story and characters and things, you get an emotional attachment to it, especially when you're. When I was younger and had emotions, it was definitely
back in those whatever days.
Yeah. And we talked about it when we did the remake of Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about it now, we'll go in depth as to how. I don't know if I want to say important, but I do want to say important. It was an important game to me, and like I felt like I learned a lot from that game. I guess spoilers are fine because that's what this kind of episode is.
Yeah. I think it's pretty fair game generally in a Zelda series to talk Zelda spoilers.
And we've done them all, so like you should. If you're watching, you should have watched
this,
all of our.
If you're tuning into episode 5 of a Twilight Princess Picross series that is getting into retrospective, maybe check out the other 800 videos. Not a lie either. It's like 700-800 videos in this series.
Or stop watching now and go watch.
Come on back when you're
Awakening
done.
Remake. Yeah, it sets this whole up. It's an imaginary. Well, I mean, the island is real, but it's conjured up in the mind of the Windfish, who makes it real because he's some sort of deific figure.
I would say in a lot of ways it actually feels it's got a similar sort of play on it to this is a more legit spoiler, I guess, but if anyone's not familiar with the Final Fantasy game I'm referring to with this, then cover your ears real quick so you at least don't know which one. But Final Fantasy X has a really major, like...
I've never played Final Fantasy.
Have you not? All right, then I won't get into it, I guess. But like the people, like... there's a pretty major...
I've had it spoiled to me already.
There's a pretty major dream-related revelation thing going on in that game that took me by surprise when I first...
so it wasn't just... I mean, the surprise of it was definitely one thing, but it hints at it enough as you play through the game. I kind of caught on, if I remember correctly, it could be hindsight working here.
Yeah.
But I think I remember being like, oh, that's what's happening. There's hints as early as like Dungeon 6, I think.
6 is where they start laying it on pretty thick,
and there's a couple of overworld hints and stuff about how... the Windfish is asleep, yada, yada, yada.
Was it Sea Bear's... Oh, God. Sea Bear's Foam, Sleep Bear's Dream, or something like that is another big one really early.
The big one for me is like... the island is a scene on the Windfish's eye, or on the... Something like that. I don't remember exactly, but... Point is, I was like, oh, okay. But it was just like... this pseudo-deity, or maybe it's a deity, I don't think it's super clear, creates this
powerful
world
being, like, basically,
that you happen across, and there's real people that are created that you befriend, but it becomes corrupted by a nightmare in the dream, and the only real option is to end everything. And it's like all of your friends are going to die one way or the other. Either the nightmare consumes them, or you kind of, fix the problem and they whisked away into non-dream. I don't even know. And it was just like, it's. Well, I remember it impacted me in the sense I was like, wow, this is really speaking to the impermanence of our world and the structures that we. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch.
He's stretching up with his right hand.
Walking? Oh, he's climbing.
He's climbing with the
Okay, sure.
These are getting a little abstract all of a sudden. I don't know when that happened, but now that's all like, it's all conceptual shit. Now it's just greed and it's him throwing a pot, like.
And sometimes the best thing to do is to break down.
And cry.
Whatever.
Yes.
Well, whatever structures that we thought were necessary. I don't know. I don't think I thought about it quite that deeply, but it's just like something about the impermanence of what you thought was permanent meant a lot to me then. And then coming across later, I was somewhat interested in Buddhist teachings, ideas. I don't really know. I would never say that I was a Buddhist, but I just thought it was very interesting, the idea of impermanence and how,
I mean, it's a natural thing,
it's just
right?
a natural, just things that get built up eventually crumble down.
Yeah, that is. Entropy is a natural part of existence.
And then it's like literally entropy and the heat death of the universe is like is a thing.
It's the whole
and so you come across all these other ideas.
It's the one definite end we know has to happen.
These things that you hold on to for comfort. Not that it's a bad thing to be comforted by things, but like you have to realize that they're not always going to be there.
And that's which is both a valuable thing to kind of think about.
But
so
it was just an interesting lesson to put into a video game
a game intended for like 8-year-olds too. Like that's a huge thing
really
to drop on
was
people.
a video game for children.
Yeah.
You know, the purpose, especially the Game Boy, is marketed towards kids, and Legend of Zelda was like a young adult adventure kind of thing at best. So it was like, wow, there's a lot going on here. So, you know, that being one of the first games, and I also shared that experience of playing that game with my very good friend at the time. I'm still very good friends with him. But this
is now officially a call-out video.
No,
that friend.
No, not at all. It was just like, you know, like he would play it, I would play it, like we'd get stuck on things and like help each other through it, and then like you get to certain points, it's like, did you get to this point yet? It's like, yeah, man, fucking crazy. And then I just, you know,
but you got to use his bombs.
Yeah.
You got to use bombs there. He hates bombs.
You know, it was one of those things I ended up loving it so much that I would just play it. I remember when I was in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, I guess.
Oh, nice.
I'd play it, start a fresh file, and try to beat the game by the time we got to whatever campgrounds.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were talking about that.
And some of those rides were like 2 or 3 hours. So I got pretty close. I may have beaten it in one car ride.
So what we're saying is we picked the wrong horse when we had CJ do the.
Well, if I had time to like prepare, I think I could have done it in just a couple hours. Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's definitely. And then once you have that kind of an experience with a piece of media,
it really reframes how you look at every piece of media.
Well, it made me like, I have a bit of an obsessive personality when it comes to that kind of stuff. So then I was like, what's the next Legend of Zelda game I can play? You know, I need to get N64 because there's this new Legend of Zelda game. I can, be ahead of the curve this time and like play Ocarina of Time from the very beginning. So yeah, and then I was hooked on the series from that. It's just a cool, while there are deep concepts, the series is never like too dark. Yeah, it's fairly lighthearted and fun, but like there's great combat and adventure elements, and yeah. I think
the one thing, it's not like a negative exactly, but like one thing that lightly bums me out, I guess, with Zelda in general is that I don't think they've ever really approached that same depth really in a Zelda game since. They've come close with a few. I think Wind Waker, ironically, is one where there
were some pretty deep ideas in Ocarina of Time with like lost childhood.
Yeah, the loss of innocence is like such a huge there's an amazing. God, I'll have to link it. I'll link it in the description. I'll throw a little overlay to get into it here. But like, there was an amazing video essay I saw that really delved into like the psychology of Ocarina of Time and like the messaging and stuff.
What the fuck is this? A beetle guy? Oh, I see. Okay.
It took me a second, like till maybe 10 seconds ago. I was like, oh right.
And I don't know. I kind of feel after Ocarina of Time, it maybe lost some of the seriousness.
Well, I would say I would say that
wasn't really into Majora's Mask, so I don't know what kind of and I don't remember Link to the Past, how that seemed like kind of a standard adventure story.
That one was I
don't remember any like really like deep psychological things that it touched on.
A Link to the Past is an excellent game, one of the very best, but it's not a particularly deep game.
It's just a solid adventure game.
Yeah, it's an expertly crafted video game. It just happens to not be like a deep psychological journey kind of thing.
I think that those early, like for me, like Link's Awakening and Ocarina of Time fueled my interest in like in film, because I like really kind of bizarre movies and stories that get like kind of surreal and touch on like some really deep concepts.
Well, I know that it came up during, I mean, at least during the original run through it. I think it came up again during the recent Switch. Whoop.
Plus 2 minutes. All right.
I did something wrong there. Let me.
Oh,
back up
adds
a little
2
bit
minutes
here.
because you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Here we go. I know we talked about it a little bit with oh, there we go. Yeah, wait. I did something weird. Anyway, it probably helps the game, endear itself to you in that apparently one of the big inspirations for Link's Awakening was Twin Peaks.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah.
Like, especially the tone that they were going for.
Yeah. I did not know that at all until well after I had played Link's Awakening, and also well after I had watched and enjoyed Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I'm in the wrong column. What the hell?
consciously feel that connection.
Okay.
But I think with it being more of a conceptual thing, or more of a tonal thing, I guess, really, that makes sense. I'd be interested to see, like, I wish there was a deep interview with Miyamoto about...
To get, like, what was inspired.
Right. What was it about Twin Peaks that he thought was interesting? Twin Peaks is an interesting, like, meta
dive on its
commentary on television and the weirdness of it.
Yeah. It almost seems... So I will have to unfortunately admit I still haven't actually sat down to watch Twin Peaks yet. I've been meaning to.
We can move away
years.
from that topic then.
Well, so I mean, what little I know about it, it almost seems like it was aiming for essentially like, what if the plot was appropriate? What if the plot was appropriate for a soap opera, but the characters were not? Like, the characters still thought like, you know, most contemporary characters kind of do, where you've got these very bizarre, weird kind of... I don't know. It feels like if you took... Again, this is from the outside and what little I do know from it, and from, you know, vicariously learning stuff through other people's videos and kind of doves like those. But it's like, imagine if like a Murder, She Wrote episode was way, way, way more serious and messed up.
Yeah.
Than like, old lady solving a murder. Like,
it's also like within the show.
Yeah.
There is a show on television in Twin Peaks, and I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But it's often on the TV in the background of Twin Peaks. That is like your stereotypical, like, over-the-top soap opera.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forget what the name of the fake soap opera in Twin Peaks is.
Oh, weird.
But it just kind of adds to the, like, meta of soap opera and TV in general.
Yeah.
And, like, what really is a character and all these things.
It feels kind of like... it seems like it would be like a meta commentary, too, on, like, taking drama itself for granted, kind of like...
Yeah.
Like, we're so invested in all these dramatic stories and things, and then, now a real thing is happening, and this is how people are behaving.
It's hard to explain why I like Twin Peaks so much. I think it's just one of those things you gotta watch and then... whack something. You gotta watch and then determine if it's for you or not.
All right, that's fair. And I definitely intend to sit down and actually, like, experience that for myself.
There's not a lot of Twin Peaks to watch, really.
Yeah.
There's only 2 seasons of the original show.
Yep, there's Firewalk with Me, and then there's the new thing. Both of which I've heard weird things about. Like, I've heard less sterling things about both the movie and the revival. But
well, I think none of this has anything to do with Legend of Zelda, but this is where it went.
That's fine.
The original Twin Peaks had, David Lynch was one of the creative people, and so was Mark Frost. I think Mark Frost was kind of reined things in.
Okay.
And since then, David Lynch had made other films and became like a bigger name.
He became David Lynch. Yeah.
And then
so
by the time the
like
movie got done, what's that?
Was it like an ego thing or like a falling out or?
No, I don't. I think it was just like David Lynch maybe had more control over it just because he was. Allowed to. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I mean, that makes sense,
though, right?
I just think in the original series, Mark Frost kind of kept things reined in.
Yeah, kept it reined in. Focused,
and later on, it was more like, unleashed David Lynch.
Okay, all right.
So it gets a little crazy, but like I enjoy the craziness of it too. So
all right, I am familiar with the backwards talking guy in the red room deal as well, which
just watch it.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to sit down and make that a thing.
Yeah. Is this a cow or is this a Epona?
That is, it looks like it's a Epona. So would you say, all right, so I've kind of asked similar questions with other folks, but like, so would you say that Link's Awakening is your favorite Zelda game? I didn't ask everybody that specific question.
Right, but like, what's your favorite Legend of Zelda game? I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's a solid game in its own right. Just, in terms of like it handles well. It's a tight game. There's no nonsense about it. Like, every area is packed with, good, relevant stuff to do. Plus the like deeper meaning and ideas in the game. Again, Ocarina of Time is way up there for me just because it was the first 3D experience.
I feel like that's also, at least for people our age, like that game came out when we were 8 or 9, basically. Like, that would have been a pretty formative game for everybody that we knew, more or less.
And like that 3D experience makes it feel a bit more immersive.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you have more control over the character.
Even if going back now it looks a little bit jankier.
Sure, yeah.
With that, but like that's kind of just how
it's just
that
like
goes.
you associate certain things with like that time period and everything. So I don't know if you call that nostalgia or what, but but yeah, I think overall, like, my favorite Legend of Zelda experience was Link's Awakening.
Nice.
I think it holds up. There's been a lot of good games, so it's a tough. You say something like that, and it's like, well, all the other ones are fucking good too.
You say it, and then you immediately start qualifying, and it's like, well,
yeah. It's like, try to rank the best of all these really good things.
It's tough, right? We've done ranking things, and it gets really hard after a while.
Yeah, except for Skyward Sword, that game sucks.
Not a big fan of Skyward Sword. See, I don't mind that one, but
they introduced gimmicky motion controls I didn't like.
Yeah, it's like, I get why they did it. I feel like it could. Man, it's
one
of those ones where,
like, if it paid off, it would have been awesome.
Yeah, I think the technology just wasn't quite there yet.
Twilight Princess like sort of had the motion controls, but like not really, and like it wasn't necessary at all.
That's what they really need to do at this point. Is they need to do a Skyward Sword HD on the Switch with the Joy-Cons and really, really get that motion control right. If they do, because the Switch motion controls are pretty crisp. They're very one-to-one in terms of like actual motion and position detection.
Yeah, it was interesting that they didn't do that with Breath of the Wild. They took their innovation in Breath of the Wild in a different direction in terms of like structure.
Yeah,
right, by making it more of an open world thing, which
I dug.
I think that paid off great.
Yeah, that was a hugely successful and popular move on their end.
Yeah.
So cannot fault them for picking the right horse there.
Yeah, I guess, like my lower tier Legend of Zelda games, aside from like I don't care about the Tingle games or whatever. Like they just like Link's Crossbow Adventure. Like it's not even.
Yeah, they're not
whatever. But
they're not like what you would call like a real Zelda. Honestly,
Majora's Mask I still don't enjoy. Skyward Sword I'm kind of meh on.
What would you say?
Most of the other ones are pretty solid or have something going for them.
What would you say has been your favorite Zelda Let's Play that we've done?
So
not necessarily the best
Link's
game.
Awakening.
Okay.
Because I want to do the speed run.
Oh, okay. All right.
Favorite? That's a much tougher question.
Right? It's tricky.
That's much tougher.
I think so far, basically everybody has been kind of like,
Yeah. I don't know if I really...
Maybe that's in my head, too, because I'm realizing that Sarah wasn't around for most of those, and Lindsay, I think, was literally around for Breath of the Wild.
Right.
So...
I don't know if I, like, have an actual answer for that.
Okay.
Because it's not so much... like, I feel like certain recording sessions are better than others.
That's fair.
Or certain particular episodes work really well, and other ones don't. I feel like it's way harder to say an entire series.
Like a whole set, yeah.
Because, with a lot of them, they just go on for so long. Like, Breath of the Wild was how many episodes?
Oh, God.
120?
More. I think it's 165 at this point, though. That includes some of the DLC that we did.
I really enjoyed our playthrough of Breath of the Wild. It was the only one. It's at least unique.
Yeah.
In that it's the only one that I didn't play on my own.
Okay. I think that was one of the reasons John didn't join us for that, was that he wanted to play it himself first.
Right. I played a little bit on my own, but for the most part, I never completed on my own. So most of the game from like the halfway point on was just from that Let's Play.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'd say that's my favorite. It's definitely the most unique. I think having Lindsay on that series added quite a bit to it. Having someone who is outside of the
there's definitely
boys club kind of thing of Legend of Zelda.
Right. I think there's definitely stuff that we would never have even thought to really do.
Yes.
Her completely random path at any given moment through with because me, I'm more goal oriented. I'll
I'm very efficient or efficiency oriented. Yep. It's like, what's the best way to do this? Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But she would kind of force us out of that bubble.
Yeah, and I think we got a much more interesting adventure as a result. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of the times it's like, oh, let's see what kind of goofy thing we can do with the physics of the game.
Yeah,
that ended up being really just a funny thing to do.
As soon as the internet discovered just how wild that physics engine got, it was like,
we didn't even scratch the surface, but
not
I
even
still
close.
had fun with it.
They're still showing off new stuff.
The speedruns of that game are insane.
Oh yeah, at this point it's like
insane.
You do your physics breaking ride the rock rodeo thing. There are people who figured out how to do that to literally land at the top of Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or I guess at the top of Hyrule Castle. Which is crazy to me.
What else do we do? I also had a lot of fun with Link Between Worlds.
Okay.
Also because it's a bit more fresh in my mind. It was a fun new experience. While I did play it on my own, it was shortly after we were doing the Let's Play, at about the same time, or just after I finished the game.
Kind of area.
I was basically just ahead of it or whatever, so it was not an old game. And it was just one of those things where it was cool to have everyone be like, wow, this new Legend of Zelda game really lives up to the name. It's really doing a great job.
It was a refreshing change of pace when it started to seem like, all right, is the series kind of struggling?
Yeah, because I'd have to look at the list of games as they came out chronologically to give a better answer of where things went, quote unquote, went wrong. They never really made a bad game.
No.
Even Skyward Sword, which I didn't really like, was a good game.
Yeah, that's that. I think a while back we did our top 10 Zelda games video, and one of the big caveats there, especially when we did top 10 best and top 10 worst, and I think we even said in there is look, there's really no such thing as a bad Zelda game. Even the one that's going to be at the very bottom is still a pretty goddamn good game by most standards.
Yeah.
By Zelda standards, maybe not. But that's because it set the bar so goddamn high.
Well, some of those games.
That it makes it it's so super difficult to gauge that. Yeah. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
What other Let's Plays? Because it's almost hard to separate the Let's Plays from the game itself in my brain. So I started with Wind Waker. I can't even think far back enough to remember that Let's Play. It was cool because that was the first one.
Yeah.
But it was also a difficult thing because I just wanted to play the game with friends. So I was still kind of learning the ropes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think everyone still kind of was at that point.
We had no idea what we were doing. We were still fresh out of we were still treating it more and it's a thing that never really changed, but we were treating it still like the radio show in a lot of ways, and so the gameplay, it still does to this day, occasionally falls by the wayside for the sake of
that's fine. That's better, I think.
It certainly sets us apart from a lot of others, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. And then it's when we did Legend of Zelda, when we did Legend of Zelda, sure. When we did Ocarina of Time.
What's that?
HD Ocarina of Time. It was
on the 3DS.
that was cool, but it was I had played that game so many times. Same thing with Link's Awakening. When we first did it.
Yeah,
I should say
when CJ did his speed run,
the quote unquote speed run,
the speed fun, as we've now started
the speed
them.
fun, the fun run,
fun run. There we go.
That went on for so long that people were losing interest and coming in and out of the mics and
That one was interesting, yeah. As a recording experience, that one was so strange because,
it was just like, it was a little weird.
Yeah. And I mean, we even said up front with that, it was like, don't feel like you have to feel tied to your mics. Right. Get up and go do stuff if it's not,
And then, doing the remake with Jeff was pretty cool. But again, it was just like, I enjoy this game.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was like, it was cool that Jeff got a fresh experience with the game. But it was also just like, it's just a good game. I didn't feel like the game heightened the Let's Play or vice versa, really, which is a weird. Okay. I don't know. So, Majora's Mask. I just kind of like complained through the whole thing.
Was it were you there for the original run through that, or was that for the 3DS version? I'm trying to remember.
I think both, right?
Probably both. I think it was both.
Because Majora's Mask came out after. No, it came out before Wind Waker, right?
Well, so Zelda was a little weird with the order we did stuff. Because we were doing 3 simultaneous things. We had a weekday series, we had a Saturday series, and we had a Sunday series.
All right.
I want to say Majora's Mask came out. We did after Wind Waker because first we did Ocarina of Time, then we did Majora's Mask, then we did Twilight Princess. Those I think were like our 3 Saturday games because they were like the biggest, beefiest ones.
Yeah.
I think that was how that went down.
I can't even remember, so like it couldn't have been that great of a series for me, I guess. So that's my answer. Yeah, I guess I'll say Breath of the Wild as an answer, but like it's not a good answer. It's just like that was a very different playthrough.
I mean, that's fine too. Like that totally works.
I don't know. Should we talk about the very first episode we recorded for Breath of the Wild?
Oh yeah, I don't think actually that's a really good point. I don't know if we've ever actually talked about it.
I don't know how long you want these episodes to go on for.
This is gonna be the last puzzle for this. So yeah, let's chat about it for a sec.
So correct me where I'm wrong, jump in, but everyone was super hype for Breath of the Wild, this brand new Zelda game on the Switch. It was gonna be awesome, open world. Oh my god!
People might have noticed that we were kind of antsy during our 1-2 Switch videos because we were like, okay, cool, let's get out of this so we can do Zelda.
Everyone was there. It was Rick, John, me, CJ, Felice, Sarah.
Rennie was there.
Rennie, Lindsay.
It was.
Am I missing anyone?
Was Meg there?
Maybe Meg. I think Meg was.
She was. Yeah, it was straight up everybody.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if Dustin was there. Oh no, or Ian was there.
Ian was there. I don't think Dustin.
Dustin was there.
Almost literally everyone.
Yeah,
that's
you can see everyone that's there.
9 or 10 people.
If you go back to our 1-2 Switch videos, everybody that's in those videos were the people that were there for our first Breath of the Wild videos.
We started Breath of the Wild. It was an absolute clusterfuck on the microphones.
Oh, God, yes. The likes of which we never encountered before.
People were talking off mic and trying to respond to people off mic. Yep. Nothing made any sense. People were getting aggravated about whose turn it was to play. Like, it was getting, like, childish with certain things.
Which gets tricky. When you've got, like, literally 8 people, 9, 10 people, it gets really hard to dole that out.
Yeah, it was not great.
Yeah.
So we restarted the whole series of Breath of the Wild. With fewer people, and it was a little bit cleaner.
It was a much better start, I think. I feel bad because I love our like big party style stuff, but they're just hellish to edit. They really are difficult.
It was just nonsense.
And yeah, there were like a bunch of different conversations. Like it's bad when we have 4 or 5 people. Sometimes we'll have 2 conversations, and we have to kind of rein it in. There were straight up 3, maybe 4 conversations happening at a given time.
Yeah,
it got to a point where it was just completely impossible to make a working episode out of it. So.
Everyone was excited for it, but it was a bad idea. Yeah. We should have just played it for fun.
Yes, it was a great pitch party for all of us to get excited about the game and then have everybody go and play it themselves. But as a Let's Play video, was not good. I don't think it ever saw the light of day.
Yeah. No, and it shouldn't because it was horrible.
Yeah, I think we even had like recording issues too. Like there was some weird audio blip.
With that many mics hot and everything.
Yeah, it was rough. Well, I think that's about what we got for this.
You sure you don't want to do one more?
We could do one more.
I don't know if you have any more questions.
I think that kind of covered it.
Right. I had fun with this.
Yeah, so. Everybody. So far, we're good. This is 5 for 5 with everybody being like, "Oh, that was a good time." I didn't know what we were gonna do, but I had fun.
You let me ramble and listen to myself talk, which I love to do. So.
Hey, you know what? And
complain.
The less I have to talk, the easier it is for me to not stumble over my words while I solve weird ass puzzles.
There you go.
I'm fine with that.
There you go.
Well, cool. Thanks for coming in today, Ben.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show 13 or 7, however many years ago.
Oh, I mean, it would have been 7. Yeah, it was
7 years
sometime
ago.
like November, December 2013, I think.
Yeah. Thanks for not saying no when John randomly
Oh my
invited
God.
me to show up.
Talk about a fucking fork in the road moment right there.
Yeah.
That would have been. It would have been completely different. Literally everything. If I was just like, I don't know, John, that makes me kind of uncomfortable or something. I was like, fuck it, why
It's like
not?
I like to keep it professional and keep it to X people, 4
Yeah.
4 people, whatever. Which would have been a totally valid response.
And then literally everything would have been. You know what? There wouldn't be an evil Ben.
Yeah.
That would not be a thing. I don't know what the fuck any of that would have been like otherwise, but
Who knows what would have happened?
that was everything. Everything would be different.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again
Yeah.
for spilling some beans,
Yeah. Spilling some bends.
and yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time for a little bit more of this. We're getting down to the end of the Picross section here.
goodness.
See ya.
Later.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Check it out. You got the with the and the with the.
So yeah, we probably went to Subway, and then I think we went to Goodwill
Yeah,
or
'cause we had
Salvation
to
Army
buy
or
more
whatever.
costume
And
stuff.
Alex literally was just like, "All right, I'm gonna buy you this blue shirt, CJ. What's
Yeah.
gonna fit you?" I'm like, "Please don't get me a large." And he's like, "All right, I got you like an extra large." I'm like, what the fuck,
It was
Alex?
such a huge shirt. That shirt was massive on
Do you have any concept of how big I am compared to the rest of you?